What's up everybody, it's your boy Proftrof and we're back again with another internet historian video. This is the story of Kony2012. I don't know who the fuck Kony is, I don't know what the fuck his story is about, but let's check it out, boys. Let's check it out. Wait, let me try and fix up the fucking camera. Okay, that's a little bit better, let's get to it.
Kony2012 is the story of a man, Jason Russell, and his relentless quest to stop Ugandan warlord, Joseph Kony. Let's begin with the action
Wait,
start.
is he actually serious?
On March 5th, 2012, a charity called Invisible Children published a high-production video
Invisible
called
Children?
Kony2012. It was an awareness campaign seeking to mobilize action to capture or kill Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony.
And the goal of the story was...
Is that legal? How can you make a campaign to kill someone?
to make Kony famous.
30 minutes long, it really tried to pull at your heartstrings.
At the end of my life, I want to say that the world we've left behind is one that Gavin can be proud of. A place that doesn't allow Joseph Konys and child soldiers.
And little Gavin would have been proud, because it took off like no video on YouTube ever had.
We wanted 500,000 views in the whole year of 2012. We got 500,000 views in the first 3 hours.
It received
Jesus.
100 million views in the first 6
Who knew people wanted to kill a black man this badly?
days, 1.4 million likes. Click that link in the description below. They clicked it so hard the website went down, and their email was so inundated that the service provider assumed it was an attack and temporarily pulled the plug.
What?
The Times named it the most viral video ever. It raised the
Ever?
charity over $20 million.
Yo, that
People
dude
really
there is
went
fuck.
fucking bananas for this video and those Ugandan kids. 4 million hashtags. People changed their Facebook profiles, so you knew it was a big deal. A fan-made mobile game. Are you woke about Joseph Kony? Yeah, but are you woke enough to get a tattoo?
Oh god.
People were up for pretty much anything to stop Kony.
Bro, people would get a tattoo of anything nowadays. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? What happened to tattoos being special, being something unique, being something that you know for yourself and shit like that, being something cool? Not kill the African warlord campaign tattoo.
As long as it didn't involve any practical action. 1 like equals 1 saved child. But who is Joseph Kony and what's all the fuss? Well, he's the leader of the Lord's Resistance Army,
The Lord's
LRA.
Resistance.
My God, you're greasy.
And he really is one of the most evil people living today.
Oh.
Imagine the worst crime you can think of committing, and he'll have done it thousands of times over.
Takes children, makes them kill their parents and eat their parents.
What?
The surviving girls would be kept as sex slaves, and the boys conscripted into the LRA as
Okay, where do I give my $5?
child soldiers.
Jesus
I know,
Christ,
it's kind of a
brother.
bummer.
It's all part of a civil conflict that's been going on for 30
He made a
years.
game series of
We'll
it.
get into the details later, but for now, consider this our one-dimensional bad guy. And here's our protagonist, Jason Russell, the figurehead of Kony2012 and Invisible Children. He's a devout Christian, stereotypically Californian,
And I do consider myself a refined valley dude.
but he has a bad boy side too.
Oh shit.
So it all starts in 2003 when, as a naive and aspiring filmmaker, he goes to Uganda with 2 friends in search of a story. While driving through a rural village,
A car was shot in front of us by a rebel army who was led by a guy named Joseph Kony.
A bit misleading. It was a car that had taken the same road earlier in the day. Jason and Cole weren't there to witness it. Oh.
they drive to a city for safety and find this. Turns out it's part of a nightly routine. Kids live in the villages, but commute to the city to sleep there to avoid being kidnapped in midnight raids by the LRA.
Thousands and thousands of kids without an adult.
Brother, if I am a poor African child trying to sleep on the ground, the last thing I want is some white boy from fucking California coming in at like 2 o'clock in the morning flashing a flashlight in my face. What the fuck's wrong with you? Let me sleep, motherfucker. I need my energy.
In sight.
What the hell?
Jason had found his story. and a cause. It must have made a real impression on him, because for the next 10 years he dedicated himself almost exclusively to trying to improve things in Uganda and stop Kony. Kony2012 was the culmination, but in the preceding years he tried a bunch of other schemes. This,
The bracelet campaign.
this,
Twice daily broadcast about where the LRA is and where they're active.
and this.
Do what we always do. Dance.
This is all real.
We're on a mission, put Uganda deep inside your mind. It needs attention and a dance to make it sparkle and shine.
I think it needs a little bit more than a dance. What the?
We gotta shake it up and break it up, but let the war without a gun.
Naturally, questions have been raised about his sexual orientation.
All these other rumors too that you were gay.
Yeah, I've heard those rumors.
Yeah.
My parents started a large children's theater organization, so I am...
Russell's parents had a national organization called Christian Youth Theater, and he spent his childhood as the Tin Man, Mr. Toad, Peter Pan. He loved musical theater, and his best friend was a girl, Danica, whom he met aged 7 and went on to marry. Oh, and he's gay?
Theatrical.
theatrical.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Straight men are allowed to enjoy musicals. It's current year. Back to Kony2012. So the video lays out a plan called Cover the Night.
That's a
Here's
lot of
what you
dislikes
do.
though.
Pay $30 for your super special Kony action kit. Whoa, that's nice. In the kit you'll find 5 items. Button, bracelet, stickers, shirt, and these posters. Then, on April 20th, in the dead of night, go out and vandalize your town with awareness.
And wake up to hundreds of thousands of posters demanding justice on every corner.
It was going to be amazing. Everyone was on board. The countdown to April 20th had begun, and all Jason and Co had to do was keep the momentum going and not fuck it up.
Oh, how did they fuck it up? Let's hear it, brother. Literally.
But this movie is not without critics.
Critics say the film manipulates the facts.
Simplifying the story.
Oversimplifying a wildly complex issue. The message is too late. Joseph Kony and his forces have been significantly reduced.
Pro-war activism.
Utterly naive to
By
think
next week, this will be a passing fad.
These white Westerners sort of getting on a bandwagon, and actually they haven't got a clue what they're talking about.
A day or two later, the heady excitement gave
What is
way
that countdown on the bottom right? What the hell is that?
more down-to-earth
Scary, my
analysis.
brother.
Media commentators started making scathing critiques of the video, and testimony from Uganda wasn't entirely positive either.
It's unfortunate that we can have people who are merchandising, but using people's problems.
Then it got really serious.
That's real true.
Teenage girls started weighing in.
Kony, so I asked my mom, and my mom laughs and goes, he died like 5 years ago.
This is wrong, by the way, but it was seen by 4 million people. From a source of "my mum said it, so it must be true." The term slacktivism started cropping up more and more.
Slacktivism?
Legitimate questions were asked. How will the money donated be spent?
That invisible children would send.
Shouldn't that have been like the first question asked before you actually send money to the fucking foundation? Where are they gonna spend the money? They said to kill him. I think that's kind of illegal, considering in a fucking country with laws, trying to start an international accent and shit. I mean, you can buy bitcoins and send the Bitcoin assassin.
Would have to go to the Ugandan military.
Why did you put your son in the film?
You know, why would you put your son in the film? You know, why did you put yourself in the film? It was questions about our sincerity.
Why are they saying Kony is in Uganda when he's actually in the Central African Republic? Invisible Children wasn't popular among other charities either. They were hogging the limelight. And they released Kony2012 just 2 days before International Women's Day, a critical fundraising time for some. Even the Ugandan Prime Minister took a few jabs.
We do not need a sleek video on YouTube for us to take notice.
Maybe
Once people
you
started feeling misled,
Wow.
they turned against the organization and squared the blame on one person. The pressure was building. Online backlash.
It's pretty interesting how easily the opinion of the masses is changed, right? I mean, a day ago they were like, "Oh, let's go kill the dude." Now they're like, yo, brother, what the fuck you guys doing, motherfucker?"
And a hectic schedule was starting to take a toll.
My phone was getting 10 text messages every second. It was just...
Millions of supporters on one side, millions of critics on the other.
On and on and on.
Make Kony famous? Well, it made Jason famous too, and the pressure kept increasing. He was flying all over the country to spread his message.
Took the red eye to New York, landed at 5 in the morning.
Working around the clock.
On the Today Show, People Magazine, Reuters. By day 3, I was in LA doing interview after interview after interview.
17 interviews in 48 hours.
Wow.
So
He was sleeping less and becoming more erratic.
Not being able to sleep, not being able to stop my racing mind.
Criticism from every direction.
Then it was like, you're the worst. You're terrible. And Kony's dead.
They started saying the whole project was for his ego, or based on greed. And not just criticism, responsibility. How are you going to stop children from being murdered, Jason? You promised a solution, Jason. When are you going to deliver Kony?
At the end of that day, my mind was exhausted.
To release the pressure, he and his family tried to take a couple of days off by going to Palm Springs. But people recognized
Why didn't you take a vacation to Uganda, motherfucker?
him there too. So they hid away in their hotel room with the curtains closed. Jason was starting to crack.
Oh,
Paranoia,
jeez.
delusions of grandeur. He went with his family to see the Lorax, and he thought the film was speaking to him directly. Voices in Jason's head told him that he needed to get to New York in the next 12 hours or Kony would win, whatever that meant. Then, he stripped off all of his clothes and ran out into the street.
I was on a street in San Diego, totally naked and crazy out of my mind. Someone driving by in a car took a video on their phone, and they sold it to TMZ for $30,000.
Ooh.
And then my naked and
Now that's a fucking business strategy if I seen one.
mess went viral as well.
Some have said that he was jacking it, and that he was on drugs.
I mean,
Neither
probably.
is true. It's
What?
just a very distressed man having a mental episode.
Were you also masturbating? Did I hear that too?
No one who was there ever said that that was happening. One of the, I mean, I'm naked, so it's not a far extension of, you know, imagination. But
He was taken to the hospital, not jail.
Police say when they showed up, they didn't see any of that and was taken to a local medical facility that he was not arrested though.
And there, he thought the staff were trying to kill him.
just one of those things where I'm like, I don't believe what you're saying. You're trying to kill me.
He ran around in his underwear, kicking in doors until eventually he was subdued and sedated.
Did you come back to yourself as you know
How
yourself?
long were you crazy for?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Whoa.
Yeah.
Later on, one Sharon.
Who the fuck is that? The chick interviewing him. She seems kind of like a bitch. Okay. This is possible. Like, he wanted 50k, 500k people in a year. He got like 10 million or some shit. And he got a shit ton of attention from the whole country, multiple countries. So it's a lot of pressure. But he's been trying for 10 years to spread the word. So he must have expected or hoped, not expected I guess, hoped at some point that he would actually have all this attention on him. And when he got it, he snapped. Come on, brother, this is what you've been working for 10 years for. Make it count.
Una Reed tried to sue Mr. Russell for the trauma of having to see him do naked calisthenics. As far as I can tell, though, that lawsuit went nowhere.
Can you think of
no, I saw
anything
it.
else
Thank you,
that's
dude.
worse than running around naked going like this on TMZ?
Being a child in Uganda again abducted for sex slavery.
Well, maybe one thing.
Oh, or that. That works
While
as
all
well.
of this was happening,
Jesus
the
Christ.
countdown to the day of action was still ticking.
Okay, we still don't know what's gonna happen with the money they got from this, right? He didn't explain. So I'm really curious about what they want to do with this money. How they're gonna kill the dude.
Thousands of kits had been sold. Get ready for an awareness campaign so effective you'll think you're living in Uganda. The kids rolled out into the street. Selfie sticks and posters ready. Let's do it. Effective, you'll think you're living in Uganda. The kids rolled out into the street. Selfie sticks and posters ready.
Is your fat ass really climbing on that shit? That shit looks rusty. You're gonna break someone's pipes, you fat bitch. Get the fuck down from there.
Let's do it. Let's save those kids. We're changing the world. Oh, God, yes. But it wasn't all well intended. Some took it as a chance to vandalize their neighborhood with impunity.
Surprise, surprise.
The adults were left to clean up the mess. And despite the impression you might get from this fancy montage, the turnout was abysmal. Here are some figures. Toronto, 50,000 people registered. Real attendance? 50. Sydney, 18,000 people registered. Real attendance?
18.
12.
Oh.
Montreal, 4,800 registered. Real attendance? 0. Instead, they cancelled their event and put up a post calling Invisible Children a fraud organization. This is what 4 million Kony hashtags gets you. Now, I bet you want to know where Invisible Children, Jason Russell, and Kony are now. But before I tell you that, I want to go on 2 quick tangents of things I found while researching.
Okay.
In the Kony2012 video, you'll see this guy, Louis Marino Ocampo, Chief Prosecutor for the International Criminal Court. This would be the organization that charges Kony.
He kind of looks like a villain from a James Bond movie, no?
Chief Prosecutor for the International Criminal Court. This would be the organization that charges Kony if he was ever caught. Well, in 2017, a bunch of Louis' emails were leaked, and they detailed one hell of a caper to catch Kony and bring him to justice. I'm not making any of the following up, right?
Oh no.
Here's the plan. Lure Kony out of the jungle with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie as bait.
Straight from a Hollywood movie, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt attempting to arrest an African warlord.
So it would go, the A-list couple would fly to the edge of the jungle where Kony is hiding and call him up with an invitation to dinner. Kony, starstruck, would of course say yes. He'd show up, presumably bottle of wine in hand and ready to mingle. Then, imagine his shock. It was a trap all along. Special forces would pop out from behind the salad bar and get their guy.
One idea appears to have been for Angelina Jolie to lure him to a private dinner where he would be arrested.
It was a foolproof plan, but unfortunately, it was never realized. Once Miss Jolie stopped responding to Louis' weird emails, Ocampo approached George Clooney for use of his spy satellite.
The chief prosecutor had also attempted to recruit George Clooney in a plot to fly spy satellites over Libya.
Yes, that's correct. George Clooney partnered with a satellite company to spy on al-Bashir of Sudan. Okie doke. Anyway, he responded that the satellite wasn't powerful enough, so then Ocampo moved on to his backup date, Sean Penn, whom he invited to the UN security meeting in South Sudan. What? And there were some people having fun with Kony2012 as well. Turns out Kony looks a lot like Carl Weathers in the movie Predator.
Oh no.
So an idea was formed. Take this screenshot from Predator, post it on Facebook and say how great he is without mentioning the name. Then wait for some slacktivists to immediately assume it's Joseph Kony. Then you call them racist. It was good for a few minutes of fun. Then they tried it on the official meetup pages. It was good for a few minutes of fun.
Oh, and I hope he rapes you, horrible child. Adam, what the fuck, brother?
Then they tried it on the official meetup pages. Promptly deleted. And we're back. So get a load of this total car crash, dumpster fire, shitstorm, diaper hurricane, am I right, guys? Well, no. Despite all the mishaps and poor turnout, Kony2012 was a massive success. The goal was to make an obscure warlord in rural Uganda a household name. And they succeeded. A reach in the hundreds of millions on a budget of about $1.5 million. Any marketing agency would kill for that. In fact, 7 years later, you probably clicked on this video because you have some vague notion of Kony and that video already. Now, let me give you a very brief rundown on where everyone is. Then let's get out of here.
Okay.
Invisible Children. Outside of long-term and small-scale projects, they've largely ceased operations. Joseph Kony. He's still out there, but his army is shrinking and splintering. He is effectively in hibernation. And Jason Russell. He's no longer with Invisible Children. He's also been breakdown free since 2012, but he's still doing the activism thing.
That's
Look,
pretty cool.
I've had to gloss over so many details in this video, and there are so many more questions to be answered, but I don't want this video to be an hour long or to take 2 months more to make, so I'm going to round this one off with a Q&A on the second channel. What about that $20 million they raised? Why didn't the US military or the Ugandan military ever just bomb the shit out of Kony? What did Kony have to say about the video?
Wait, Kony actually responded?
More. Plus,
he came out of the jungles. You wanted Angelina Jolie. Why? You already had him out of the jungle, brother.
Any questions you may have of your own. Uganda want to see it.
That's... Okay, we gotta check out the Q&A. That sounds interesting as hell. Anyway, that was the story of Kony 2012. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, everybody. Have a nice fucking day.